Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another Nintendo Switch video. We are getting ever closer by the day. March 3rd is, at the time of making this video, only 22 days away, and I am so unbelievably excited. In fact, if you guys have Twitter and you're not already following me, then I have a daily countdown to keep the hype train chugging along. But anyway, that aside, with launch getting ever closer, I thought it would be a good time to talk about launch games, more specifically, my top 5 recommendations. Believe it or not, there are other games coming out at launch aside from Zelda, and for those of you guys that are looking to pick up a few to keep you busy until the next wave of games release, then look no further. If you guys enjoyed this video, then a like would be super appreciated, and comment down below and let me know what games you guys are going to be getting for your Switch on launch day. Or if you're picking up a little bit later, then similarly let me know. Now first up, kicking things off at number 5. 1-2 Switch. Now, hold on for a second before you guys think I've lost my mind. I did have to think long and hard about whether or not to actually include this game in my list. I mean, if you're someone who likes to sit down, get stuck into a game and just lose yourself for hours, 1-2 Switch is not that game. I also strongly feel like this game should have been packaged with every console similar to Wii Sports back in the day, or at least come pre-installed so people had something to play out of the box. But alas, it's not, so here we are. However, the reason I decided to include it is because if you're someone who likes to have friends around to play games, or perhaps you occasionally set up gaming sessions and parties, and are looking to have some fun, then 1-2 Switch is actually a hilarious game to play. Some of the mini-games, while ridiculous, will also have you in hysterics if you play with a group of friends. 1-2 Switch includes 28 ridiculous mini-games that range from things like cowboy-style quick draw or catching the blade of a competing samurai, all the way up to things as absurd as milking cows or even caring for babies. Think WarioWare style crazy, but instead of the action actually happening in-game on screen, it invariably involves looking at your opponent in person and performing an action with the Joy-Con. Also, further to that point, the launch of a new console is an exciting time for a number of different reasons, and one of those is often just to see what the system can do. And while going on videos alone, 1-2 Switch might not seem that impressive, what it does do is provide an excellent demonstration of the technology behind the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons, while small, have an incredible amount of technology packed inside, and 1-2 Switch is one of the best games to illustrate just that. So you could see it as a bit of a tech demo. A full price tech demo, true, but a technical showcase nonetheless. So in short, if you fancy getting something to mess around with, play with your friends, etc., then maybe consider this. Moving on to number 4, Puyo Puyo Tetris Switch. Now if you guys have been following the launch lineup, then you'll know that this is actually slated for release in April, in America and Europe, and that's true. So why then have I included a non-launch title in my launch top 5? And the answer is region lock, or the lack thereof. Nintendo Switch is region free this time round, and while Puyo Puyo comes out in April in the West, it is actually a launch title in Japan coming out on March 3rd. And while I appreciate not everyone reads, speaks, or learns Japanese, what I will say is games like this are incredibly easy to play without knowledge of the language. You're all likely very familiar with the gameplay mechanics, so provided you can navigate your way around the menus, which isn't hard to be honest, then you can quite easily import this and play it without any trouble. Puyo Puyo Tetris, for those of you guys unfamiliar with the title, is a puzzle game that takes aspects of both Puyo Puyo and Tetris. The game features the core gameplay you'd expect from the Tetris game, whilst using assets and characters from the Puyo Puyo series. There are versus modes so you can compete with your friends, fusion modes that actually merge both games together in one, swap modes that jump between Tetris and Puyo, and there's even a story to it as well. Truth be told, it's a bit of a weird game to try and explain, but if you guys have ever played Tetris, then I'm sure you understand it. It is however worth mentioning that if you're going to import this, I'm unsure at this stage whether you'd be able to play multiplayer with people that purchased it when it comes out in the West, so I'd say if you're a fan of the series, fair enough, pick it up. If you're looking to play versus with your friends in the West in April, then perhaps you might want to wait. Moving on from there to number 3, I Am Setsuna. This is one for the JRPG fans out there. It's developed by Tokyo RPG and published by Square Enix, and the game follows a mercenary, his team, and a maiden named Setsuna, whose duty it is to offer herself as a sacrifice at a sacred shrine to appease a hostile demon. The game uses an active time battle system specifically designed to be reminiscent of the 90s RPGs, similar to that of the system used in the early Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger games. The game features all the usual systems you'd expect from a JRPG: towns, outposts, quests, side quests, hidden treasures to find. You work your way between different regions via an overworld map. Pretty standard stuff. I don't really need to explain to you guys what a JRPG is, but the long and short of it is, if you're looking for one to play on your Switch, then this will be available worldwide on launch day, March 3rd. After that, switching over to number 2, Super Bomberman R. Now, I have always been a fan of Bomberman games, and it's also been a long time since the last time I played one. In fact, it's been a little over half a decade since the last entry in the series, which is partly why. So it goes without saying that having a new entry into the series on my brand new Nintendo Switch is always going to be an easy win. Again, I'm sure you guys know what this is by now, but Super Bomberman R is an action maze game where you move through a two-dimensional grid, placing bombs to trap and take out enemies, whilst obviously trying not to kill yourself in the process. I mean, playing with explosives is dangerous, right? The game has a story mode that spans 50 stages, it also supports co-op play with another player, and there is an 8-player competitive multiplayer mode too, where you basically try and blow each other up and be the last one standing. Kind of like Battle Royale with bombs. If you've never played a Bomberman game before, it is fun, it's addictive, and it's definitely something great to play on the go, so good for when you take your Switch out with you. And then finally, in at number 1, it goes without saying, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you are only going to get one game at launch, make this that game. Zelda is an incredible franchise, it is my favourite series of games ever, and Breath of the Wild is set to truly shake things up and give Zelda fans a chance to play the series like never before. It's set in the biggest open world Nintendo have ever created. There are over 100 shrines, which are like mini dungeons for you to discover and solve. There are also your conventional dungeons with epic boss battles, and right now we've seen about 1 to 2% of the entire game's open world. So there is no shortage of stuff to explore, items to find, quests to embark on, just stuff to do in general. Pair that with the ability to play it both at home on the big screen and on the go thanks to the portable nature of the Switch, and you genuinely have a Zelda game that you never need to put down. I've been fortunate enough to play the game on a number of different occasions over the past year, from things like E3, Gamescom, and at various preview events, and each time I go hands-on, it gets better and better. I appreciate it may be a little bit too early to say at this stage, but this game is set to be a strong Game of the Year contender for me. So if it's not on your pre-order list, then you are sorely missing out. And if you guys have never played Zelda before, then this is a great chance to jump in. But that, my friends, is pretty much it. Those are my top 5 recommendations for games to consider picking up at launch. Obviously, if you guys don't want to get all of them, then just work backwards from number 1 and you'll be set. I mean, Zelda in itself will probably keep you busy for a good number of hours, and then don't forget that just a month later we have the likes of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Snipper Clips with even more games coming further down the line like Splatoon 2, and of course, Super Mario Odyssey at the latter part of the year. It's going to be a good year, so if you guys are hyped for Switch, or you love Nintendo, then keep it locked because there's going to be a lot more on this channel very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.